Let's talk about attachment to an identity. Our life runs on a certain set of thoughts, beliefs, expectations, understanding of life, understanding of what is happening, what has happened in the past, and what we can expect to happen in the future. It is something that is so obvious that we even stop noticing it. I'm sure now that I'm talking about this, you are able to think about your ideas of life. You are able to think about your thoughts about life. And these thoughts keep us occupied. They are always there in the background, determining what we do, how we act in certain situations. If something happens that is in alignment with these pre existing thoughts or pre existing notions of how life is supposed to be, then that thing immediately gets our attention, whether it is good or bad, doesn't matter. So, where are these notions or thoughts coming from? What is their existence? Or before that, why are we even thinking about or talking about these thoughts that all of us have? You see, we are talking about them because they are important. They are the ones that are running our life. They are the ones that are the source of a lot of our emotions. Say, for instance, if we have a subconscious thought somewhere that life is difficult or that I am sad, then it's a story that I'm carrying. And this story is, in a way, just determining my life. I will start to focus more on things that align with this story. Even if something good is happening to me, I won't pay attention to it. I would rather pay attention to what aligns with my subconscious story. So, since these stories are affecting our life, it definitely is important to talk about them or to consider them. What are we carrying inside? What are the narratives that are running in our inner spaces? I'm pausing here because I'm trying to connect with the nature of nothingness that all of us actually are. The reality of who we are that unfolds once all these stories, all these preconceived notions just dissolve. This sense of nothingness is the real identity that we have. The stories are not real. The stories are not our reality. Their absence or their awareness is who we actually are. As they dissolve, you become open to the richness of this moment. Whatever is happening, whatever you are feeling, whatever sounds you can hear, whatever things you can see, there is so much richness in the reality of now that can only be perceived when those stories that we attach to, they dissolve. We become the witnessing consciousness, the silent observer of the dynamism of life. Life is doing its rich dance, and I am sitting still, holding a wide container, a wide presence for life to fill in. That is true experience, true bliss. But getting here or being here, being there for life, being open to life in this way is something that needs to be practiced, something that needs to be mastered. Letting go of an identity, letting go of who you are as you have learned since you were a little child is something that needs to be mastered. Many a times, life has not so pleasant ways of helping you master this skill. You can be taken through experiences that help you break down this false notion of who you are. But you can only say this when you give permission to life in that way. I said allowing life to help me break down the false notions of who I am. In a way, I'm collaborating with life to break down who I am. If I don't collaborate, then I would have said that life broke me, which is a common dialogue, you know, when maybe you have heard many people say that life is not happening, life is not working out for me, it's too hard, life is breaking me, and so on. There is nothing wrong with being in that state. And it's a continuous practice again to transition from that state to this state of collaborating with life. And maybe everyone has to do it again and again until you master the skill. Until we master the skill. Because as I said, these cycles are perpetual and everyone goes through them. So next time we go through an apparent undesirable experience, an apparent unpleasant experience, maybe we can see it as an opportunity to collaborate with life, to let the false notions of self be destroyed. It's a complete shift in perspective and brings a complete shift in your experience. Whenever we experience something, whenever we experience a reality that is not in alignment with the notions that we are carrying, that is when those notions start to break. For instance, imagine that you perceive your life in a way that you are going from point A to point B. You are A right now and you want to become B. So you are moving there, you are making efforts to go there. You're doing your daily chores, you're doing your job maybe. You have a certain set of relationships in life, friends, family, that are in alignment with this notion of life that you have, that is going from point A to point B. But if now suddenly these external things, your work, your daily schedule, your relationships, if they start to get into a place where they no longer resonate with your notion of going from point A to point B, then this identity that you are carrying inside you will start to collapse. And unfortunately, that is the only way, or the only way that I know of, that can create this collapsing of false identities and bring big shifts in how we perceive and experience life. So in a way, it's a good thing. Take a moment to think about the notions that you are carrying right now, what you are expecting, what are your expectations from the next 1 month or next 6 months of your life. Are you able to see how you are holding on to certain expectations of the future? You're expecting certain things to happen. You want them to happen while you don't want some other things to happen. Are you able to see this labels and attachments that we are adding onto life, adding onto the experience of life? And where is it all happening? It's all happening here in the mind. All these notions, all these thoughts, all these attachments are not there anywhere in the physical. Like, they are not a part of the world. Don't exist anywhere, but in the biochemical activity that is happening in your mind right now, that is happening in my mind right now. So that is the source of this attachment. That is the source of this identity that we think we are. It's not written somewhere. It is only an ongoing biochemical activity in your physical mind that is a collection of neurons or cells, if I talk in a biological sense. It's like if my life was being run by the computer, all that I can think of who I am is just a program that is running in the computer. But can that program be changed? Yes. Is the sense of who I think I am, is it permanent then? No. Can it be changed? Yes. Will it be changed? Probably yes. So it's important to step away from these thoughts that kind of form the basis of our life. It's important to be aware of them. It's important to see their existence. It's important to see their movement as they are controlling how I live my life or act in my situations. And a lack of awareness of these thoughts, these notions, is the only cause of suffering or psychological, psycho-emotional suffering. Probably physical suffering will have a different angle to it, but the psychological and emotional pain that we go through is because we are holding on to these thoughts, to these notions created by the mind. I am scared because I'm holding on to certain expectations of the future, certain expectations of life. And it's not I who is holding on to them, but my mind. If I become that white presence that looks at the mind rather than being the mind, this white presence that looks at these thoughts rather than becoming them, then I'm something else and I have no reason to be scared. I don't know what fear is. But every time I come back to a place where I attach to these thoughts, to these expectations, I will again be scared. Let's try to build this awareness multiple times in a day. A simple activity that I can suggest and we can practice right now is imagining yourself as the room. Think about the room that you are sitting in for a moment, not my room, but your room. You can imagine that people walk into that room, do different things. The room is not really affected by those activities. The room is not affected by what people inside it are saying or the emotions that they are carrying. So let's try to assume this awareness of being the room rather than being this body and the mind. Imagine yourself being your room and looking at this character who is watching this video. I imagine being the room that I am in, looking at this character that is recording this video. I see that the character is saying things, feeling things, has all these thoughts. I silently observe all of that. Of course, language can only guide you to that experience, but only silence can take you there. My words cannot take you there, no matter how well I try. They can just guide you. But your own inner stillness shall take you there. So let's practice this inner stillness. I hope this makes sense. I hope this helps you. Please take care and have a nice day.